What is going on, everybody? This is NYG Jeffy T 3285, and I'm just here to give you guys a quick little update on the roster cut so far by the New York Football Giants as they begin to cut down their roster to 53 players by tomorrow's deadline at 4 p.m., getting ready for the 2022 NFL season. Now, the New York Giants have a practice tomorrow at 1:45, so they're going to try to get all their cuts in by that time tomorrow. And they've already started it today by cutting down at least 7 players. And these players are as follows. As the New York Giants have cut wide receivers Keelan Doss and Travis Toivonen. They've cut cornerback Odja Griffin, as well as safety Yousef Corker, offensive lineman Josh Rivas, as well as Eric Smith, and kicker Ryan Santoso. Now, nobody on this list right now is any big of a surprise. I mean, Eric Smith, the New York Giants, brought into the roster last week to try to add some more depth to their offensive line due to injuries to Matt Parrott and Matt Gano, so they needed to try to bring in some more depth on that offensive line. So that's the reason why they brought in a guy like Eric Smith, because he did play with the New York Giants before, but his chances of making the roster were a little bit outlandish, and a little bit, it was very, very hard for him to make the roster going forward, and maybe the Giants could possibly sneak him on the practice squad. In terms of Josh Rivas, he's a nice young offensive lineman. Maybe you could take him and put him on the practice squad if you believe he has some upside. Throw him on there, see if you could develop him a little bit more and going forward and see what you could get from him. In terms of Yousef Corker, this might be the biggest surprise out of all 7 of these guys that were cut so far. Corker does have some upside coming out of Kentucky as an undrafted free agent, but the New York Giants must believe in Trenton Thompson's overall skill set and how it fits into this defense, and plus they must believe that Dane Belton is a lot closer to returning. So it's unfortunate, but it looks like a numbers game happened with Yousef Corker, and you have to wonder if the New York Giants are going to try to sneak him onto the practice squad, or if another team might have seen enough in him to try to bring him on their 53-man roster going forward. Now, in terms of Ryan Santoso, he was just pretty much a procedural move. The only reason why he was brought back to the roster is because of the fact that Graham Gano was dealing with a concussion issue, and he's in concussion protocol right now, so the Giants needed somebody to go out there and be able to provide the place kicking for the New York Giants going forward. So this is just pretty much a procedural move, as Graham Gano is probably going to be taken off the concussion protocol in the coming days. So this was an expected move going forward, and maybe Ryan Santoso can find his way onto the New York Giants practice squad going forward. In terms of Odja Griffin, he showed some promise over there at the Giants cornerback position when he first came in, but it just seems like it was a numbers game, and the Giants would rather see what they can, the Giants probably liked the cornerbacks they had ahead of him, and probably guys like Rodarius Williams, who's coming back from injury, as well as some of their other players on there like Cordero Flott. They want to see what these guys can do on the roster, so it was just really a numbers game for Odja Griffin. If they are interested, maybe put him on the practice squad. If not, you let him see what he can do in his future endeavors. Hopefully, I wish the best for him. As well as Keelan Doss and Travis Toivonen. Right now, Toivonen was just really brought back to the roster a couple of days ago, but his chances of making the roster was pretty much slim to none. I think he's just maybe a practice squad guy at best. And Keelan Doss, he struggled a lot in the beginning of the training camp and preseason when he was brought to the team this offseason. Right before training camp, he struggled with drops and trying to get separation on the offense. He made some nice plays towards the end of training camp, but I think it was just too much, as the wide receiver position is one of the most crowded positions on the team. And Keelan Doss was just pretty much a numbers game. We'll have to evaluate to see what Joe Shane and Brian Dable think, and if maybe they want to put him on the practice squad going forward. Now, one of the other rumors I just want to give you guys real quickly is there have been trade inquiries on wide receiver Darius Slayton, as Adam Schefter of ESPN.com has just reported that other teams have inquired about the fourth year, fifth-round draft picks availability with the New York Giants, as he has struggled with drops, inconsistency at times, even though he is still a guy that could make plays in the NFL and can be an effective player for the New York Giants. It just seems like that the numbers game are just ahead of Darius Slayton, and maybe a change of scenery might be best for the fourth-year wide receiver out of Auburn. So we have to see how that's going to go forward, but I would not be surprised if the New York Giants try to seek a trade for Darius Slayton, maybe get themselves a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick for the wide receiver. And if not, I would not be surprised if Darius Slayton finds his way off this New York Giants roster going forward. It's a shame because I think he has a lot of upside, but we'll have to see what happens with Darius Slayton going forward. And we'll have to see what other players get cut from this New York Giants roster heading into tomorrow's practice and getting ready for the NFL regular season. So that's just my quick little update I want to give you guys in terms of the roster cuts that have been happening with the New York Giants so far. They've cut 7 They've cut 7 players so far from the roster. Probably the biggest surprise being Yousef Corker, but it's really not that big of a surprise at all. And there have been trade inquiries right now from other teams for Darius Slayton right now. You have to wonder if the Giants are going to be able to get any type of return for the 4th-year wide receiver out of Auburn, the former 5th-round pick for the New York Giants back in 2019. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Monday morning/afternoon. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button below. Subscribe if you haven't already to NYGJeffyT3285 for more breaking news updates, roster updates, and injury updates surrounding the New York Football Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications on when the next video or short's going to be dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And let me know in the comment section what you think about the first few cuts right now that have happened with the New York Giants. The trade rumors going around Darius Slayton, if he's going to be a guy that's going to be traded off the New York Giants in the coming days, and what other potential cuts you could see with the New York Giants before the Giants cut down their roster to 53 men heading into the 2022 NFL season and the first week against the Tennessee Titans come September 11th. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Monday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants. Together blue, everyone.